Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. Today, we are going to talk about how can how mm, can something be made of net being from made from nothing out of nothing. So, before we get started, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment below the videos and share them with your friends on social media. Chat's wide open for you guys. So let's get started. Now, if you remember in season two of Doctor Who with the 10th Doctor, they had the sphere in Torchwood, and they said that the sphere had no energy, no mass, no weight to it. And it came from the void, which was the dead space, and the void had it was in between like dimensions, and yeah. Now in Wizard 101, we were the paradox in Imperia, but by the time we got to Caramel, towards there were cavities in Caramel creating holes. And by the time we got to the end of Caramel, there was a strange creature that came from the void, and it was made of nothing. Now, it appeared to us throughout Numeria that when we destroyed the world synthesizer, a world from design appeared to us, and it was made out of nothing, the nothing. And then that world was called Novus. Now, that's interesting. How can something be made out of nothing? That's the question we're going to discover in this live stream. I've done my research for this, and it's very interesting. And I thought, why not share it with the rest of you? And talk about it. So that's what we're here today, and I want to let you guys thinking about this for the two-part episode in Doctor Who, and for Arc 4 of Wizard 101. And I just want you to think very clearly about it. Okay? So, let's get started on how nothing can be made from nothing by talking about it. And I will, at the end of this live stream, I'll let you think about it. Okay? Remember, this is supposed to get you thinking from that two-part episode of Doctor Who. And the two-part episode of Doctor Who is called Army of Ghosts and Doomsday in season 2. The episodes 13 and 14. And it's on Amazon Prime, by the way. But I also want you to think about how it relates to Wizard 101 for Arc 4 for Worlds Caramel, Lemuria, Novus, and Wallaroo. So, let's get started, shall we? Quantum physics demonstrates that something can be emerged from what appears to be nothing under specific conditions, primarily through the Swinner effect in the vacuum space, which is not truly empty. It is filled with quantum fields, the fundamental fabric of reality, whose lowest energy state contains zero-point energy. When sufficiently strong electrical field is applied, this vacuum can be disturbed, causing particle and antiparticle pairs like electrons and positions to spontaneously appear from the quantum vacuum. Feel free to correct me on the words in the chat below, okay? Thank you. This process, predicted by physicist Julian Swinger, Schwinger in 1951, was experimentally verified in 2022, so like a couple of years ago, using graphene, a two-dimensional material capable of suiting extreme electric fields. In this context, nothing refers to an empty space devoid of particles, but not devoid by physical laws or quantum fields. Thus, the creation is not from absolute nothingness, but from the physical potential of the quantum vacuum. As Ethan Siegel of the Big Think states, when electrons and positrons or holes being created out of literally nothing, just ripped out of the quantum vacuum by electrical fields themselves. It's just another way that the universe demonstrates the seemingly impossible. We can really make something out of nothing. This this phenomenon challenges the classical idea that nothing can come from nothing, showing that the quantum field theory, the vacuum itself, is dynamic, energetic, meaning capable of producing real particles under the right conditions. Okay, so that was part one of that. Now, I want you to think very clearly of that, what I just said, and think how it can relate to Doctor Who and Arc 4 in Wizard 101. Alright? Now think clearly as I read the second half of this. Okay? One argument is that itself has a beginning, and thus the universe can be eternal in the sense of being existent at all times. One can also argue that the time must have been have must have a beginning for how it can an infinite amount of time elapse for it to be. Now this is one half of a pair of arguments by Kant, his antinomies, which he argues that a certain concept is beyond human reason to establish. This still leaves begging the question, what happened before time began? Aha! There's the question. What happened before time began? Although, narratively, this question looks non-sequential since we no longer have time. For then, what can before relatively what came before mean. It still has some sense in speculative and imaginative sense. The only rational sense, it seems, that one can pose such questions. In fact, certain speculative com- commerce knowledges of the Big Bang, the Big Bang Theory. If you watch that show, it's a good show. There's a spin-off version of it called Young Sheldon. It's about the adult version of Sheldon narrating his childhood. It's a good show. It's on HBO Max and Netflix. Okay, so in fact, certain speculative commenters, the Big Bang specifically allowed something to exist before the Big Bang. Aha! That's an interesting fact about that right there. For example, the universe began as a quantum fluctuation. One must ask, in what sense physical laws exist before there was space and time traditionally understood? Now, here's an interesting thing. That's where the Doctor Who concept is in there. Space and time. Yes. Okay. For assertion to make sense, at least this much to be true. The argument that something come from uh, cannot come out of nothing is meta- metaphysical one that goes back to at least Prometheus, if not earlier. In fact, the mythical world things that always have beginnings and endings. For example, if I open my hand and then, if I have an open hand, then close it, it's a fish that has appeared, and open palm as it had, and an open palm has disappeared. But of course, what has remained constant between this is my hand. If something comes out of nothing, then by what agency has it happened? From whence did it come from? If we postulate some fundamental physical law that allows something to come out of nothing, then nothing plus physical laws is not, in fact, nothing. Now, I want you to think very clearly about what I said and think how it can relate to Doctor Who and Oak Full of Wizard 101, and you'll have your answer for both of them, including what I said from this live stream. I hope you enjoy this live stream, and I will catch you guys next time for more live streams. If you love this live stream, I recommend you guys check out my past live streams, and I hope you love them. I will catch you guys later for another live stream. Have a good day, guys. If you're watching it by day, and if you're watching it by night, have a good night. Bye.